Hello, and welcome to the HUD webcast for the Community Compass Technical Assistance and Capacity Building Notice of Funding Availability for fiscal years 2018 and 19. Throughout this webcast, we'll be referring to it as the NOFA. And in this session, we will review NOFA rating factors 1, 2, and 3, and explain how they relate to your organization's application and how you will be assessed if you decide to apply for funding through this NOFA. My name is Benjamin Fry, and I'm a program analyst here in the Office of Community Planning and Development at the Department of Housing and Urban Development. I'm joined today by two colleagues, Stephanie Stone, who's director of our Technical Assistance Division, and Jessica Yurchison, who also serves as a program analyst on our team. Next, Stephanie will lead us through an overview of the rating factors. Stephanie?
Thanks, Ben. Overall, Community Compass funding is designed to help equip HUD's customers with the knowledge, skills, tools, and systems they need to deliver on HUD's programs. This NOFA is soliciting applications that can demonstrate capacity to provide technical assistance and training related to this initiative. This webcast will address the 3 rating factors which determine how your organization's application will be evaluated by HUD. The factors are related to organizational capacity, strategic approach, and effectiveness in accomplishing results. If you applied for funding through this NOFA last year, you may have noticed that scoring was reweighted for this year's NOFA. More points are included for rating factor 1, capacity of the applicant. Less points are included for rating factor 3, achieving results. And the point total for rating factor 2, soundness of approach, remains the same. Next, Ben will guide us through important elements for rating factor 1.
Thanks, Stephanie. This section serves as your opportunity to explain your organization's capacity to deliver technical assistance, and it's divided into 3 subfactors: program knowledge, program experience, and award management. Rating factor 1 asks you to explain what you know and what you've done with what you know. 1A is about program knowledge. This subfactor evaluates your knowledge of the programs and cross-cutting topics in the Technical Assistance Focus Areas table in the NOFA. It also measures the program knowledge of your staff, contractors, and consultants. You must choose at least one of the HUD offices, including the cross-office section of the table, and describe your knowledge in at least one of the programs or cross-cutting topics listed for that office. If you do not have knowledge of the programs or cross-cutting topics in the table, you must describe knowledge in similar programs or cross-cutting topics, including but not limited to housing, health, education, economic development, or workforce development. You must describe how this knowledge qualifies you to provide TA under the Community Compass program. Note that similar program or cross-cutting topics must clearly identify the HUD office to which it's aligned. First, the narrative response. In the narrative, you must demonstrate your understanding of common issues facing the program and common barriers to implementing or complying with the program, as well as possible strategies for overcoming those issues and barriers. For example, shortage of funding, subsidy layering, complicated technology, or lack of regulations. Next, you'll describe TA needs within each program based on gaps that currently exist and/or needs related to NHDAP activities. You'll reference within the context of your response any applicable laws, regulations, rules, requirements, and policies for the program you've selected. Let's turn to program knowledge, continued. Breadth and depth. So in addition to evaluating your overall response to subfactor 1A, we'll also consider the breadth and depth of your knowledge. The breadth of your knowledge will be measured by the number of HUD offices, including cross-office, included in your response. The depth of your knowledge will be measured by the number of programs or cross-cutting topics addressed within a single HUD office or within the cross-office section of the table. If you provide a description for more than one office, only the HUD office description that demonstrates the most depth will serve as the basis for this score. Please note, for applicants only seeking funding from the Native American Housing and Community Development TA funding source, the breadth of your knowledge will be measured by the number of Native American Housing and Community Development TA programs included in your response. The depth of your knowledge will be measured by the extent of the knowledge you described for one of the 6 programs. If you provide a description for more than one program, only the program description that demonstrates the most depth will serve as the basis for the score. In addition, when responding to this section of Factor 1, we expect you to organize your response by HUD office and program or cross-cutting topic, clearly labeling each section. It's also worth noting that if you do not receive at least 11 points for this subfactor, you will not be eligible for this award. Let's turn to program experience. Subfactor 1B measures the program experience of your staff, contractors, or consultants. So you should provide an overview of your program experience and/or the TA you have conducted in the programs and cross-cutting topics in the Technical Assistance Focus Areas table listed in the NOFA. Your response should reflect the programs in which you have the most extensive program experience, as well as the programs in which you are most interested in providing TA or carrying out other activities under Community Compass. If you do not have experience in the programs or cross-cutting topics in the table, you must describe experience in similar programs or cross-cutting topics, including housing, health, wellness, educational advancement, economic development, or workforce development, and you must describe how this experience qualifies you to provide TA under the Community Compass program. Your response must speak to the overall program experience you will bring to the Community Compass program, as well as the program experience of key individuals on your team. You must differentiate between internal staff program experience and program experience you procure from external contractors and consultants. You must describe relevant training and qualifications within your TA team. Except for the program-specific experience requirements listed, you may only include program experience in the 5 years prior to the NOFA publication. If you include in your response tools and products that are available to view online, you must include website links for no more than 5 examples. When crafting your response to subfactor 1B, you should describe the following. How has your organization gained its program experience and in what capacity? When was that program experience gained? And what major accomplishments and outcomes resulted from this program experience? To the extent possible, please quantify your accomplishments and outcomes. Continuing with program experience, organization is key. As in the breadth and depth section, to aid in the review of your application, you must organize your response by HUD office and program or cross-cutting topic, clearly labeling each section. The minimum score requirement. If you do not receive at least 14 points for this subfactor, you will not be eligible for an award. When responding to subfactor 1B, you must consider the program-specific experience requirements. You will not be eligible to receive funding to provide TA in a program if you do not meet the relevant requirements. When responding, you should also consider HUD office-specific experience listed in Section 1B of the NOFA. Your response in this section will help to inform our award decisions. Moving on to subfactor 1C, Administrative and Award Management. In addition to delivering high-quality TA to HUD's customers, we're seeking applicants who demonstrate the administrative capacity to effectively manage a Community Compass cooperative agreement. In subfactor 1C, you are expected to demonstrate readiness to begin implementing award administrative requirements soon after executing a cooperative agreement. Staff qualifications. For this section, you must identify who will be responsible for key components of award management and their relevant qualifications. You must demonstrate that you have sufficient key management and administrative staff to effectively manage a federal financial award. You must describe the qualifications, experience, and responsibilities of personnel that will be responsible for the following components of award management. So this means compliance with federal, state, and local requirements, including financial and performance reporting, management of staff, contractors, and consultants, and multiple work assignments of varying complexity, oversight of product development and TA delivery, including development of project scope, timeline, budget, and quality and accuracy of technical assistance, administrative tasks such as billing and bookkeeping, sorting reports, invoices, and financial files for quick access, and communicating with others, including the project team, the awarding entity, that is HUD, in relation to the overall budget of the award and any potential variances in the budgeting costs. And last, monitoring and performance measurement and evaluation. Next, we'll take a look at operating policies and procedures. So tell us more about how your organization's policies will implement federal award requirements and retain high qualified staff. Include a description of your organization's written policies for managing multiple projects and awards, including periods of performance and spending, collecting and reporting on expenditures and performance measures, coordinating activities with multiple organizations, employee retention and succession planning, including overcoming unforeseen circumstances such as the departure of essential staff, or if HUD or the customer determines that the assigned staff have inadequate skills needed to complete a current TA engagement or activity. Such procedures must demonstrate your ability to ensure continuity in the delivery of the TA or other activity. And continuous professional development for your staff, consultants, or contractors to ensure their continued knowledge of award administrative requirements, including new laws, policies, and procedures. And last but not least, monitoring and oversight protocols. So here you'll describe your organization's protocols to ensure the effectiveness of your operating policies, successful award management, and mitigation of occurrence of fraud, waste, and abuse. Explain your ability to monitor and oversee the Community Compass Award effectively. So, ensuring acceptable work products were provided before you submit invoices to HUD and pay contractors or consultants. Managing and monitoring the performance of contractors and consultants and your ability to comply with award requirements, including the administrative, national, and department policy requirements for HUD recipients. That's located in Section 4B of this NOFA, along with the terms, conditions, and specifications of contracts or other formal agreements. Financial processes for managing federal awards and monitoring award expenditures. So refer to your existing accounting and personnel policies and procedures that include necessary management controls. That concludes Rating Factor 1. Now we'll turn to Jessica, who will lead our review of Rating Factor 2. Jessica?
Thank you, Ben. Let's take a look at Rating Factor 2, Soundness of Approach. This section serves as your opportunity to explain the strategies you have used, currently use, and intend to use to assist HUD customers. The maximum score for Rating Factor 2 is the same this year, 29 points. Rating Factor 2 focuses on the skills needed to successfully plan and execute a TA engagement or another relevant activity. We have eliminated the 5 different fictional scenarios from previous NOFAs. Instead of providing a response to a fictional community like in the fiscal year 2017 NOFA, you must describe 4 past engagements you have completed within the last 5 years from the publication of this NOFA. Each engagement must cover at least one program or cross-cutting topic in the Technical Assistance Focus Areas table in NOFA Section 1A, 1B. If you have not provided TA or conducted other activities in any of the programs or cross-cutting topics in the table within the last 5 years, you must describe engagements in similar programs or cross-cutting topics, including but not limited to housing, health, education, economic development, or workforce development. You must describe how the similar programs or cross-cutting topics qualify you to provide TA or conduct other activities under the Community Compass program. We added clarifying language to make it clear that Rating Factor 2 is about the skills needed to successfully plan and execute a TA engagement or National Homeless Data Analysis Project activities, instead of being about program knowledge and experience, which are captured in Rating Factor 1. These skills apply across different HUD programs. Therefore, even though Rating Factor 2 instructs you to describe engagements in specific programs, Rating Factor 2 is not measuring your substantive knowledge of or experience in a particular program. Instead, Rating Factor 2 is measuring your ability to effectively plan and execute an engagement regardless of the program. For this rating factor, you must describe 4 separate engagements, even if an engagement addresses multiple programs or cross-cutting topics. When possible, you must describe engagements with HUD customers. If you have not provided TA to or conducted other relevant activities with a HUD customer in any of the listed programs or cross-cutting topics within the last 5 years, you may describe engagements with a non-HUD entity, but the engagements must still fall within the programs or cross-cutting topics in the technical assistance focus areas table, or be in similar programs or cross-cutting topics. An engagement does not have to be a HUD-funded engagement. The engagements must be one or more of the Community Compass eligible activities listed in NOFA Section 1A, 1C, except for administrative and coordination. Each engagement description must begin with a heading that includes a description number, such as 1, 2, 3, and 4, followed by the HUD offices and programs or cross-cutting topics that were the primary focus of the engagement to which you are responding. So for example, 1, Public and Indian Housing Rental Assistance Demonstration, RAD. You may describe multiple engagements within one HUD office and multiple engagements for one program or cross-cutting topic. You will receive up to 4 points for engagement descriptions that describe engagements that were completed within 5 years of the publication date of this NOFA. 2, identify the period of performance and type of entity assisted, such as public housing agency. Cover at least one program or cross-cutting topic in the technical assistance focus areas table of the NOFA. And lastly, include one or more of the Community Compass eligible activities listed in this NOFA. You will receive up to 25 points for the extent to which you demonstrate an ability to effectively plan and execute a TA engagement. And this includes clearly describing the entity's capacity issues or needs and the process used to identify the needs. In addition to describing the potential impact of failing to address the identified issues, describing the approach taken to address each of the entity's identified capacity issues or needs, describing use of existing resources and, if applicable, development of new resources, defining the performance measures you use to evaluate the effectiveness of the approach and outcomes achieved, describing the measures taken to ensure the sustainability, and lastly, demonstrating collaborative approaches to programs or policy areas across HUD and other federal, state, and or local agencies where coordination is essential. Now let's walk through a hypothetical example. If you describe 4 different engagements, each engagement will be scored by a program-specific reviewer team. Once we have their scores, we average the 4 engagement scores to arrive at the final score for rating factor 2. And on this slide, you see an example of this being done. Next, we will take a look at rating factor 3, which is all about achieving results. I'll turn it over to Stephanie now.
Thanks, Jessica. The third rating factor has 2 sub-factors: tracking customer performance and results, and problem solving to achieve results. Let's take a look. For sub-factor 3A, tracking customer performance and results, describe how you actively track customer performance and results, including the use of qualitative and quantitative data. This rating factor is focused on your general process for tracking, and you should not tie it to specific past engagements. This subfactor is worth 10 points. For subfactor 3B, problem solving to achieve results, describe a previous engagement for TA or another relevant activity in which you used data to identify and address unexpected barriers to achieving the intended results of the engagement. This subfactor is worth 6 points. For 3A, please include the following in your response: types of goals, milestones, and outcomes used for engagements and activities. Describe how those goals, milestones, and outcomes were identified, and explain how you used data to track customer progress toward the goals, milestones, and outcomes. And also note how frequently you evaluate your efforts. For 3B, you should include the following in your response: the engagement, including the type of entity assisted, such as a public housing agency, and the initial goal of the TA or activity. Describe how you use data to identify the unexpected barriers, the barriers you encountered, and how those circumstances changed the scope of the engagement or activity, how you adjusted your strategy to ensure that the changing needs of the customer were adequately addressed, how you used regular meetings, reports from your financial management system, or other reports to HUD or another federal agency to identify progress and challenges and implement additional changes in scope or objectives. How you use data to track objectives to completion and report to HUD or another federal agency, including the frequency of the evaluation, and the final outcomes or accomplishments of the engagement or activity. Thank you for taking the time to watch this webcast. If you still have questions that weren't addressed in this webcast, we have some resources available for you online. Please be sure to check out grants.gov and sign up for email notifications to learn more about this funding opportunity as well as others you may be interested in. We also encourage you to review frequently asked questions, which can be found on grants.gov as well, and also on HUD.gov. And we encourage you to check out HUD.gov for more program information about Community Compass as well as other HUD programs. If you still have unanswered questions, please reach out to us by submitting your questions via email to communitycompass, all one word, @HUD.gov, and all questions will receive an email response. We do our best to respond as timely as possible. Thank you so much again for taking the time to watch this webcast and consider whether this funding opportunity is right for you and your organization. We sincerely hope that you consider applying, and we wish you the best of luck with your application.